Why I don't believe in giving advice. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Catherine, and today I'm going to be talking about why I generally don't like giving advice to people. This is actually tied to one of the fears I had in starting vlogging on YouTube, and that is less of a concern about camera presence or my editing skills, because those things will get better over time with practice. My fear has less to do with that and more to do with liability. As someone who spent a few years working in the insurance industry, I learned a lot about liability and how people can sue each other pretty easily. As someone who is pursuing a licensure in massage therapy, I want to be really careful to not operate outside of my scope of practice. And in the state of Tennessee, where I'm studying, where the licensure is protected under the Board of Health, I have to be really careful with what I recommend to people, so that way I'm not operating outside of my scope of practice. So it wouldn't be correct for me to give relationship advice or nutritional advice, because that would be operating outside of my scope of practice, because I'm not trained in those things specifically. I don't have licensure in those particular things. But I think for me, it goes beyond insurance liability and scope of practice. Naturally, I've been a pretty quiet person anyway, and then if you add the layer on top of that of liability and scope of practice, that kind of makes me not want to talk ever, because I take the principle do no harm very seriously. And I guess I have this fear that literally anything I do could be causing somebody harm. So it's hard for me to find a balance between living the best life that I can and not being in constant fear that I'm hurting somebody, even unintentionally. I have found in my own personal relationships that I usually don't like to receive advice from people unless I specifically ask for it for a particular situation. A lot of times I just want someone to listen to me. I might want to process something or vent about my day without someone telling me, oh, you should do this. And so in my personal life, I would want to extend that same courtesy of I can be a listening ear and I can offer feedback, but I don't want to tell someone what they should do because I don't know what's best for them. Another example is I took yoga teacher training, so technically I am qualified to call myself a yoga teacher. I can talk about the benefits of yoga, but I'm also not going to sit here and say you as the viewer should practice yoga because it's going to be beneficial for you. Is it? I don't know. I can tell you why it's been beneficial for me, and I can tell you why I have found it helpful for myself, but I don't know you, and you might not experience the same benefits that I do. I think an obstacle I sort of run into a little bit is the fact that YouTube is generally seen as a platform for education and tutorials, and a lot of people grow their audiences by offering education and tutorials and telling people how to do certain things. And I haven't really found something that I feel comfortable educating people on, I guess, because I'm concerned that I could spread misinformation, even unintentionally, or that people will take my words as law and then they could sue me afterwards when things don't go well. So I do feel like I might limit myself a little bit on YouTube because of that, because I am so conscientious about not wanting to tell people what to do. I will gladly share things that I'm learning in my journey and things that have been helpful for me, but I really don't want to tell people what to do. Because at the end of the day, we're all on our own journey and we're all very different people. So I'm still figuring out what that balance is. Because I'm not going to say I'm never going to give advice to anybody. I'm sure there are certain contexts in which I probably will give advice to people, or at least give an educated opinion, or at least just an opinion. And at the same time, I want to be conscientious of that principle to live by of do no harm. Because ultimately, I want to contribute to the healing and the growing of the world while doing as little harm as possible. So I'd love to continue to share things that I'm learning and ways that I'm growing, and as much as I can, I think I'd like to refrain from telling people what to do. Those are my thoughts for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.